Hey, we got 4 interesting things to talk about today. First, our taters are almost ready to hill. Secondly, it's way too wet to plant anything. Thirdly, I'm done with my freshman year of college. And fourthly, we got a community garden update from West Lafayette. Stay tuned for scenes from our next episode.
Is it dry enough to hill our potatoes?
Usually I don't sink into the ground. I'm sinking when I walk on this. This is no good.
Yeah?
Ugh.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, I can already tell. I could throw this at you, Dad.
Yeah, and it would hurt.
Yeah.
One of our problems here is that the potatoes are pretty tall.
Yeah, soon enough, Johnny's not going to be able to get over them.
Last year they got too big, it was wet like this, and we couldn't even hill them with the tractor. Well, they're almost a foot tall.
How tall can Johnny get over?
I don't know, 6, 7 inches, 8 inches maybe.
Well, it's a good thing that the potatoes are growing underground.
Well, you know, he'll be able to go over them without hurting them too much if we could just get them soon. Thing is it's still staying wet.
Speaking of that, we really need to get on planting sweet corn.
Well, let's go look at our sweet corn garden. So the sweet corn garden looks just like we left it after the test track video. You remember when we had the soil pulverizer out?
Yeah, and I think you pulverized it so well that I'm sinking in even more to this garden than I was the other one.
Okay, well, it's definitely looks too wet to me to plant corn.
Yeah.
But we got 8 inches of rain in a 10-day period.
I almost had to canoe home instead of dry foam.
And we've been looking all around for the pontoon attachment for Johnny, but nobody makes one.
You can make a bolt-on pontoon.
Yeah, maybe Ken can make us some bolt-on pontoons.
Dad, next season we can start planting rice.
Yeah, there you go, rice, yeah.
Maybe we should. You know a lot about rice after
Yeah.
going to China. Speaking of you knowing a lot.
You know how on those like unemployment graphs they have like no high school, some high school grad, some college grad? I have just bumped myself up to some college. I am 1/4 done.
So we moved you out yesterday, right?
Yes, I moved out about a mile up the road to a different house where I'm gonna live for the summer and work on soybean genetics.
Soybean genetics, that'll be good.
I am super excited. It's super nerdy, but I get to actually do a lot of the crosses for the soybeans and analyze their protein and fatty acid contents with all these cool lab equipment things. It's cool stuff.
Yeah, and yesterday when we were there, you gave us a tour of the community garden. We saw the first one when we tilled it, but you showed us the other one.
Yeah. So there's 6 of these raised beds, and there's 2 on this side and 2 on that side that families themselves will rent, I guess you could say, for the summer for like $10 or $15, and then they can plant it, and all the food that grows there is theirs. So this one is already it's already claimed by Sheila, and she has her trellis for growing viney stuff. So these are the kind of interesting new addition to the garden, called tower gardens, I guess. They're an aeroponic system. Each one of these cups is a spot that you can put a plant. This kind of mossy material helps it grow, keeps it in place, allows it to absorb water a little bit. And then the air and water and the nutrient solution will pass through the tube and hopefully get some water to it. So this is what they look like before they're planted. It feels kind of weird. In the gardens, when anything is grown collectively, like this is, 30% of it is free to whoever needs it. And then 70% of it is sold, and then the profits are reinvested in Habitat for Humanity or whatever the garden needs. This one's Mark's garden. Mark's my buddy. He's like in charge of the neighborhood. He's I guess the neighborhood president or something. He's the sweetest old guy you'll ever meet.
It looks to me like, Katriel, that there's a lot of cabbage and some other stuff planted right under this fence. What's that?
This is the fence row garden, I guess it's called. A lot of the stuff grown here is just kind of whatever people find. That, hey, I have a lot of cabbage seeds, plant it here. So in the past, I think this has been kind of a free-for-all.
Okay, tell me about this building up here. What's that?
It's called the Junction House, and it's kind of the meeting spot for the neighborhood. And they also have like after-school stuff for kids. They have a nice kitchen in there.
Who owns it and runs it?
I think Habitat for Humanity runs it. And then in the larger garden, which we saw Johnny till in a previous video, they have a big patch for potatoes, and then they have an even larger garden with more of the carrots, onions, vegetable crop.
We saw the straw all over the potatoes. They're taking a little different approach than we do.
Yeah, I think that's so they don't have to hill it.
Yeah.
So they have a thick layer of straw, and the potato crops are peeking through the top of the straw.
Yeah, you can see the potatoes coming through
So
already.
the leaves are out and they're able to photosynthesize.
Yeah. And then the other garden looks to me like the rain has exposed all those rocks again.
Yeah, it's rained quite a lot. I think it rained every day for a week, which is really not good when you have to walk outside to all your classes. Kind of frustrating.
Yeah, well, no more of that for you for a while.
Well,
Hey, I'm wondering if there's anything we can do to get those rocks out of that garden next year. Some folks have talked about maybe a Harley rake. We may have to rent something like that. I don't know if that'll get those rocks up to where we can get them off or not, but we could use some advice for that in the comments section. You can see these rocks in this garden and how they're small rocks, but there's just a whole bunch of them. We didn't even, I mean, we heard it when we were tilling, but we certainly didn't see that many until that heavy rain has come
Yeah.
and exposed them all.
yep. The garden had some funding to buy the tower gardens originally, so that won't be imposed on the community or anything. But they are looking to use the money from the 70% of the crops grown to perhaps buy more if they work out, or further invest in the garden.
And what type of plants are planted in the tower?
Anything that's not a stem tuber or a tuberous root can be
Okay,
planted.
hold it right there. Are you saying anything that produces above the ground?
Essentially anything that produces above the ground. So obviously you can't plant your potatoes in there, but
Or your
you can,
carrots,
or your
or-
carrots. But you can plant lettuces and cabbage and broccoli and stuff like that. Tomatoes might be a little hard.
See, I think that education is getting to you. It's getting all this fancy terminology and all this stuff. You have to be simplified for dear old dad.
Well, you wanted me to study for finals, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just got done with that.
But you have to learn translation for dear old dad.
Oh. Hey, if you have any questions about any of the stuff we talked about today or anything you'd like us to address, please put it in the comments below and we'll try to address it on the next update video. And for now, remember to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time on Tractor Time with Tim.